We're back. Football is finally back. We started with the NFL draft, and from a Ravens standpoint, I couldn't have been any happier with our picks. But I won't go into that first. We'll start with JP. So, JP, what did you think from the draft? There's a lot to unfold, but we'll start with the Ravens.
It was a great draft. I mean, we needed Rashad Bateman. I mean, I thought he would go first, but Kadarius Tony went first. I mean, he's a great player too. I'm happy for him, but I'm happy to receive Rashad Bateman. We needed him. Good slot. I mean, he can play anywhere to be honest. So if we want to move Hollywood to the slot, he's good for outside too. We got Sammy Watkins on the outside, inside. Like he can play. Rashad Bateman can play anywhere. And the second pick, like a lot of people say, like he's 0 sacks and all that, but he's so fast. Like he's a great pass rusher. Like he gets there, as Emmanuel said when we were talking before this. Like he just gets to the QB. He can make you fumble, like get pressure on you. He'll just get pressure on you, and the QB will get scared of him. So I think we had a good draft. I'm happy for Justin Fields. I'm happy that Chicago like traded up. I think he deserved it. Like he got so much doubt and stuff like that. And Allen Robinson finally got a QB, and I'm actually excited for the Bears. And I'm actually excited to see them whoop the Packers and win the division. So let's go Justin Fields on for that part. But hey, Pittsburgh, Najee Harris, great pickup. People did say that y'all should have got the Clemson running back, but I think Najee just fixed you guys. Like I just see Le'Veon Bell in that, just running a screen, running short routes, catching the ball, and just breaking everything and getting a touchdown. Like that, just I just see Le'Veon Bell in him, like written all over him. So that's a good pickup. I mean, we all caught it like 2 weeks before the draft, 3 weeks before the draft, and I'm happy he fell to you guys because he's a great player, great community player also. So he'll be good for the Pittsburgh community. That's all I can say. And then Mac Jones to the New England Patriots. It's all good, man. Believe in Bill, right? 6 rings. I think you guys will be great. Just train him to be a good player, man. That's all y'all gotta do. And then Packers, I can't say nothing about it because I have zero knowledge on why they have to draft a cornerback. But hey, that's the Green Bay organization. Good luck, Aaron Rodgers. Wherever you fall, you're a great man. But I say, yeah, y'all are just done. Y'all are just done. But that's my take. I can't wait for round 2 and 3 tonight. Ravens got 0 picks in round 2, but we got 2 in round 3. So I see them drafting O linemen, maybe some more defensive players if we wanted to. But let's see what happens.
Well, we'll leave all the bad news for last. Essay. But Faison, what do you think about Mac Jones? And surprisingly, Bill once again not going up to get Justin Fields.
Look, last time when we were on, the show, I said there's a big possibility that we draft Mac Jones, and if that happens, I'm gonna be behind him. I'm gonna be supportive of him because he hasn't played a snap yet. I can't call him overrated. I can't call him this and that. Even though I kind of did, because my stance was he was the third best quarterback in this draft. I think Justin, not third best, probably like fifth best, and I think he still is. I think everyone in the first round who drafted ahead of him was better than him. That was just my take. But I think this was always our guy. Bill didn't trade up. I thought we would have, but he sold me a dream. I don't think he knows what trade up means, and that's okay because I think this was just our guy. Nick Saban, Bill Belichick. We know those guys are buddies. So I think Mac Jones was always going to be our guy. This year, I don't think he's going to play a snap unless something happens to Cam. Of course, I hope not because I want him to be healthy. I want him to lead this team to the playoffs because I want Cam to succeed because this is you know probably his last year. So yeah, I'm excited for the future. This is the first quarterback I've ever seen my Patriots take in the first round. It's pretty interesting. It's pretty exciting, and I'm gonna be with him. I'm gonna be around him. Of course, I wish we got Justin Fields, but that was a great trade by Chicago. It really was. I mean, they finally got their franchise QB after all these years. Like they've never had a young quarterback as good as Justin Fields. So yeah, Mr. Ellis, Najee Harris is here in Pittsburgh. A lot of people wanted you guys to take an offensive lineman in the first round. Landon Dickerson was there, even Tevin Jenkins, but those guys are still available in round 2. That's why I always said Najee was the guy.
Especially when you're dangling, two third rounders when you can move up and grab your guy if you feel like you need him. I was trying not to jinx it, so I was really being guarded. But man, inside I was just bursting because it's one thing to get a good running back, which we got, and I think him playing the fourth year made a big difference in terms of, rounding him out as a player. So he's a lot more NFL ready now to just plug right into the lineup and be the guy. Because you all know Thorman's a bell cow guy, as they were saying in Pittsburgh. He's a bell cow guy. You got to have the bell cow. Run him till the wolves run off, So without a doubt, Norge is going to be that kind of guy. And I'm already hearing it from my family members, relatives, listen to Pittsburgh radio driving in this morning, just the hilarious accents coming out to say his name. Norgie. Norgie, this Norgie guy looks like he could be good there, So it's exciting, really exciting. And, in Pittsburgh, when we talk about nachos, right, there's a term we use called Norch. So you never call them nachos, you call them Norch. So now it's like, we're going to watch Norgie. We're going to have some Norch. It's going to be great, So very exciting. I mean, he's just a Steeler through and through, man. He fits everything that we want. The fact that he did his draft party from a homeless shelter, literally, serving pizza in the homeless shelter where he spent some time as a young man, as we all know, his documented life history. This guy is an absolute perfect Steeler, man. And I guess I was in denial in my mind that we ever would have a shot at him because I figured somebody else, like Arizona, maybe somebody would have grabbed him prior to us with all the hype that was out there, man. But this guy's a winner. And what we need right now are winners. And what we need are smart football players. And Najee is an incredibly smart person. If you ever heard him talk, guys, he's extremely articulate. He knows what he wants. He's got a great vision for life, and he lives his life to care for others. And it's a perfect Steeler, man. It's going to fit great. And most importantly, he's going to be able to call out what's happening on the defense when he's behind Ben, because Ben, his whole career, if you look at Ben's career, he's always relied. And anytime he's had playoff wins, he's had a running back behind him that could help him out with what was happening pre-snap. And I think Najee is going to fit that role. Mendenhall was very good at that. And we could talk about the fumble we won, in the Super Bowl, but Mendenhall was an excellent football player for the Steelers, and he was able to read the line and tell Ben what was going on, much like Bettis did, much like Willie Parker did. And so having another guy like that who can just be back there to help Ben out pre-snap is going to be huge as well, especially because we're going to be breaking in a new center, whether it's a rookie or an established guy. Please, God, may it not be BJ Finney, but there's going to need to be some work there. So I do think we'll trade up. If we see a good line that we want, we're going to trade to both thirds to move up. So it'll be interesting to see what happens, guys. But I can't lie to you guys. I am really, really, really excited about this pick, and way more about the person being associated with the team, even than I am the player. That has me pumped up, man. We people get on Juju all the time because he doesn't have any kindred spirits as like a giving person. The guy's out there all the time on social media, giving and open. When you're going to combine forces with these guys, man, look out. It's going to be great for the community, and Pittsburgh needs it right now with all the violence and brutality that's gone on in the city and the mistreatment of African-Americans in Pittsburgh for, its entire existence. Having another guy in there that's going to raise awareness for why diversity matters and is important is huge for us. So I'm sorry I talked too much, guys, but I'm excited. And again, as much to getting the person as I am the player.
Now, you got any words for your little Packers debacle with Aaron Rodgers wanting to lead the Packers, and then your response getting a corner, which he's not bad, but a corner. So explain yourself.
I'm not surprised. Like, if you think about it, it's been a year since that whole mess last year, and now the 1 year anniversary, the draft, and he announces it on this day. The rumors come out on this day. So when you think about it, I think he's timed this up perfectly. If you've never seen a report directly saying Rodgers wants out from Adam Schefter, you may hear from PFT or Trent Wingo, but never from Adam Schefter. That's what really shocked me, because I spent every offseason seeing from PFT. That man does not know how to talk about football, just random rumors. And now all of a sudden, Rodgers wants out. And then we respond with a corner, which I was not happy about at all when Elijah Moore was right there. But I'm not surprised. He's a really athletic corner. When you look at Goot, this is his third year drafting, his first pick a couple years ago with Jair. And then you look at it now. Next year after was Rashawn Gary, which was a really surprising pick because he was an athletic stud, but failed to produce much at Michigan State. Michigan. But his draft day, he did amazing. Fastest linebacker ever to run 40 under the weight of 270. And then you look at Darnell Savage, who was a crazy athletic player. But then the main need for the Packers on offense is a slot receiver. We have too many tall receivers. Devontae 6'2", MVS is 6'4", Lazard is 6'5". There is no main slot receiver. Devontae plays all of those roles when we need him to, but he can never be lined up at that one position because of that lacking spot. There is no Randall Cobb to play that slot position no more. He's been gone for 3 years almost now. And you would think, oh, we have Elijah Moore standing right there. Call his name out. And they take a corner. And, you know, I'm it's not a move that I would make. But I'm not surprised. Goot looks for athletic players. He's not the best player available, which is surprising. He still didn't pick him. Bateman was right there. So if you want to trade up to the 25th spot, 26, he could have done that, but he chose not to. He did that last year. He traded up the year before that and the year before that. But this year he chose to stand still in his first year, not trading up, and he just took a corner. I really don't know. I guess we just have to see. Elijah Moore's still there. There's still a chance to trade up for him today. Brown is still there. We can still trade up. We have opportunities available today. But that's what I said last year when we took Love, and I was like, I was telling myself in the back of my mind, this day two, we still got a chance, and every single day got worse. So I just hope that does not happen today. And to be honest, I give our pick a C. Elijah Moore is right there. Unless we're able to take him today or Brown today, that whole pick, this draft, if we don't take a receiver today,
You think he's a starter? Is he a day one starter?
Who, Stokes? I think so. Kevin King, we re-signed him, which was surprising, but I do think he can definitely start over King. King really was there, I think, for depth. So, I mean, he's a good corner. I'm not saying Elijah's a bad corner, but he ran a 4.25 on his pro day, which is unofficial time, but it's crazy fast for a corner. So I definitely think, and he's 6'1", so he fits into the mold that Goop wants, a tall, athletic player. And I really hope he does work out. And I really hope we can do something today to please just fix that any offensive player that you could say is a day one starter, at least because we have no receivers under contract after 2022. None. Not Devontae, nobody. And you would think, oh, this is the year. I really don't know what his plan is. I hope he does have a plan. I think he does, but today will determine whether or not he really does. If he does not take Moore, if he does not take Brown, I don't know what to say.
What do you think the public does if, and it's just a big if, I say, but you think about Packers fan, and I've been up there many times, so you get the feel when you just walk around the neighborhoods around Lambeau, like this is a family organization, right?
Yeah.
I can't imagine that aside from the 3 or 4 people who are making these decisions, that anybody in the family would be okay with Aaron Rodgers doing something crazy like pulling a Barry Sanders and retiring, right?
Yeah.
What would the public perception and legacy of Rodgers be in Green Bay if he were to say, hey, I'm married to a woman worth $325 million who's 9 years younger than me. I just kicked a shortstop on Jeopardy. I do amazing work to help small businesses in this country, and that's kind of been my focus. What does his legacy look like if he just walks away right now from the organization, from the fan perspective? What do you think the fan perception? Now, I'm not talking about the talking heads. I'm not talking about the Twitter people. I'm talking about the hardcore Green Bay fans, the ones that really invest in the team, like you. What's the legacy of Aaron Rodgers if he walks away next week?
He walks away as the greatest Packers QB of all time. In many minds, like myself, best QB they've ever seen. The main perception that will change is not really change, but really, lower down is really the view of the Packers front office. You've seen Rodgers continuously extend his contract with the Packers, despite them having so much failure in the defensive side for so many years. We've gone from 2011, where he carried them to a 15-1 record with having the worst passing offense, passing defense of all time. Then you go on to last year, where you're one game away from the Super Bowl. and then you decide to not draft any single starter from a backup QB to a third string running back to a fourth string tight end. 3 players who would barely touch the field for you, and 3 players who could have had any type of role in the NFC Championship game when other players were stepping down. But the only thing we had available was that third string running back. And then you're just going to see this year. This man, he wants to extend his contract, and then you're going to go in and try to talk to him to restructure his own deal. After years of staying with this organization when many players could have left, he chose to stay, and now you're trying to talk to him about restructuring his own contract. When he wants to extend it, after all this, he still wants to extend it, and you still want to restructure. It makes zero sense. And it's just surprising that the Packers front office would actually have any type of courage to walk in and say, well, we want to restructure the contract. After just winning his MVP, after being the sole reason you've been able to have any success for the past 15 years, it makes no sense. But
Hey, Essay,
nothing will change for fans.
I'm asking you a simple question, probably not a simple question, but do you think Aaron Rodgers is still going to be the starter in September, or is he going to be on another team? Or
I think he is, because the Packers know better than to trade him. They said it yesterday. And the number one convincing moment was when John Lynch spoke yesterday, and he said, yeah, we did give a call to Green Bay, and it ended quickly. Because the Packers know, second that man leaves this team, that we're no better than the Jaguars. We're going to be in our top 3 pick next year, and we're going to be looking for our new QB for possibly a decade. So the best thing to do now is to listen to everything what he says and give it to him. You cannot entertain no trade deals, no matter if he wants it. You have to do everything you can to make sure he stays. And today's one big step in doing that and drafting him somehow.
So what would happen if you go through this draft, you don't do anything for Rodgers? What do you
Retires.
think he'll do at that moment?
Retires. Retired automatically. Request a trade or retire. One or the other. It's as simple as that. Every single day, I still look at the drafts. The 2019 draft, 2020 draft, the worst draft I've ever seen as a Packer. We've had Ted Thompson, who was a pretty decent drafter, and he drafted literally every single All-Pro that we had on offense last year. And good, he had some great picks, Jair. But then when you look at that draft last year, it's not like he went in for a player and he missed. These weren't players that weren't going to contribute anything at all. 3 straight players, 3 straight backups that will never touch the field to a team that's 1 game away from Super Bowl every single year. Retired. As simple as, and you refuse to sign anyone this season. The only receiver you signed last season was Devin Funchess, and then he opted out was because of COVID. You don't get AB. You don't sign any of the receivers in the free agency this year. You're like, oh, the draft is available this year. Bateman's available. You don't want to trade up. Elijah Moore's right there. You don't even trade up. You decide not to take him. I really don't know. I don't know what they're doing. And I see them high five after that pick. I see Pickers in. I see the Michael Floyd group high five in the office. You know, I hear Daniel Jeremiah say, oh, the pick is in. And I'm like, oh, they finally did it. I lied to myself. How could they ever do anything to actually support this man? I really don't know.
It's really weird, man. I mean, it really is just strange. Like, you think about it, and I'll just say this, Frankie. I know Ben has 2 titles. Okay, they were early in his career, but he has 2 titles. Okay, so you got to give him that. He's been in 3 Super Bowls. Got to give him that. But obviously, Rodgers is the far superior player in career. And to think of what the Steelers do to bend over backwards to give Ben what he wants. Imagine what it would look like if Green Bay had done that for Rodgers.
Yeah, look at the Bucs last year. The Bucs had Tom Brady for 1 year and gave him the most support that he's ever had. Look at the team they built around him last year. You want Gronk? Let's get him. You want AB? Let's get him. We're going to make sure you don't really have to struggle on the defensive side. We got 2 linebackers who could have won the Super Bowl MVP last year. We're going to stack that receiver core. We're going to extend. We're going to bring back every single player, every single starter from that Super Bowl team to this season to make you happy. We'll do whatever it takes. Packers are in some comfortable marriage where they're like, we're not going to do anything. And even if you do leave, we're not going to let you leave. It makes 0 sense.
Why do you think is that? Why do you think is that, SA? Why do you think Tom Brady gets all this stuff? Why do you think Big Ben can reconstruct his contract and not retire? But why do you think the Packers are so bad to Aaron Rodgers? Why do you think that is?
I think just they're comfortable. They're really comfortable what they have every single year, especially in the Mike McCarthy era, where all you have to see is just games being bailed out by this horribly coached games being bailed out by Rodgers, like disgusting defensive performances, games where you're like, where is everybody? And you just have to see some last minute heroics just to bail it. And they got comfortable in that, and they still are. I think their goal every single year is the NFC Championship game. They really don't care about. If they really cared, they would have done something. The Niners last year embarrassed us badly in that last game, and we did nothing to improve that team from doing so, from being able to beat them. And luckily, they didn't really come back to the same form. They were hurt, but I really don't know. And we're going to be the number one in the division this year, like we always are. I'm not surprised, but when it comes to playoffs, then we have to have players who step up out of nowhere. Devontae gets hurt, we're really done. I really don't know.
What about these Ravens, Emmanuel, and what about these Patriots, FaZe? Because we've been, we got to get into that too, man. Because you guys, I mean, it was a very interesting, big decision, certainly for the Patriots.
Yeah, like I said, this was the first quarterback we ever drafted, and when we talk about staying at 15, we didn't trade up to get Fields. I just always when I saw that we were staying at 15, I was like, Mac was always our guy. I think like I said, Nick Saban, Bill Belichick. When you have a quarterback who's on the board and he was trained by Bill Belichick's protege, and you're staying at 15, you're gonna want him. And like a lot of Patriots fans didn't want him, and that I was one of those. I was one of those guys because I wanted Fields. I wanted even Lance because I know Lance can learn a lot from Cam Newton, and he has a big arm and everything. But he went number 3. But I'm not gonna be one of those guys who say, "Oh, this guy sucks." He's not good. He's not gonna be any good. He hasn't played a snap yet. Like, come on, let's chill out. Let's chill out with these comparisons. We see all the time media's comparing him to Tom Brady. You don't need to listen to the media. Of course they're gonna compare him to Tom Brady. They always do that. They're gonna compare him to Aaron Rodgers. Who cares? But you have to have faith in your team. If you don't have faith in your players, then I don't know why you're a fan. It's like you, Mr. Ellis. Well, let's say, what was your reaction when, let's say, Big Ben was drafted in 04? You were going to a different time that back then.
We were thrilled. We were jumping out of our boots. We thought there was no way in the world he was going to be there, man. I mean, unbelievable that he made it that far.
It's crazy. And just like
same with Jackson with the Ravens. I mean, you got to get lucky, right? And so maybe this is the Patriots' luck that they've been waiting for. Maybe this is it. He falls to them at 15, and maybe he becomes the next great QB. You don't know. Mm-hmm. But I will say this. With Lamar and Ben, you knew. With Mac, we'll see. It could be. I don't, but, he played with such a, Ben came out of, Miami of Ohio, okay? He played in the freaking MAC, okay? But he absolutely balled out. Jackson also played in an inferior football conference, but absolutely balled out and got on everybody's map. Mac played great, especially throwing off his back foot, things that you see about him that you're like, wow, this is awesome for the NFL. But remember who he played with. And same with Najee to an extent. Like, remember who he played with.
Yep. That's what I was
playing an all-star team.
Yep. They had the all-star team. They had the dream team. They had the 96 Bulls. Yeah, I get that. But, I'm going to have faith in my team. I'm going to have faith in Bill Belichick. Belichick had confidence to use the 15th overall pick on a QB. And you're going to tell me that I'm not going to have faith in Mac Jones? Then I'm just not going to listen to you. We're talking about Bill Belichick here, a guy who never picked a QB he picked Brady, but I'm talking about first round, of course. He uses a 15 overall pick on a QB. I'm going to have faith in him. Emmanuel, when we talk about the trade, the Orlando Brown trade, we never talked about that. We never got your initial thoughts. So what was your initial thoughts when you saw him being traded to the Chiefs? Were you like, oh God, we traded him to the best team in the AFC? Or were you like, oh, we got 2 first-round picks?
A little of both. Because I did not want the Chiefs to rebuild that O-line the way they did. They just got rid of everybody, and in an instant, Kyle Long, Joe Thuney, and then Orlando Brown. And then not forgetting the other 2 guys that didn't get were their opt-outs for COVID, they're coming back. So Chiefs just got a refired up online like nothing ever happened. Like, okay. So, but I mean, I'm still happy overall about that first round pick. I kind of thought with that pick, we get Bateman first round, and I think we use that pick for someone else to trade in, and then we get more second round picks. Because after we trade that Orlando Brown trade, we have to give up a second. So we didn't have a second round player, and usually a lot of gems come in the second round. So maybe Baltimore might use the third round picks to get into the but but I have trust in Eric DeCosta. They made their smart moves, and we'll see what they do on day two. But I'm just extremely happy that Lamar got finally a number one. Now our offense looks a lot better. Now it's just Greg Roman, don't screw this up, because now it's Lamar. You got what you wanted. Don't screw up either. Now I'm not saying he will, but both of them can't screw up now.
Now, would you guys look at maybe like the tight end from the school that a guy named Esse is heading to, Notre Dame? Would you perhaps look at him if he makes it to round 3, or would you look at Freeman from Penn State, who had limited looks but could be sort of your second tight end complement? Would you think about that, or are you more thinking about defense here or O-line for round 3?
I think defense and O-line, because we still have Nick Boyle. And Nick Boyle was our Swiss Army knife. Same with Pat Ricard. So we kind of, in a way, we have 3 tight ends. So I don't see us looking at tight end. But hey, I mean, fill up the riches, I guess. But I see them more trying to go attack a right tackle or a center, because our center was horrible this year. And 4 of our losses this year, including the Bills game, he was horrendous and cost us a lot of opportunities. So we'll have to look there. For I mean, I don't mind. I think maybe Baltimore might look at another edge rusher, but I think tight end is very slim.
Because that tells me a lot about like Dickerson, that they didn't pick him there. Because you picked a guy who has great potential. Like we said, he is a playmaker, but physically speaking, I watched Maryland run him over the entire game when we played them. I mean, they ran him over. I was surprised but does this tell us anything about Landon Dickerson? Because like you said, you guys need a center like the Steelers need a center, and they didn't take him there with what essentially was a bonus pick. Does this tell you that people are a little scared of Dickerson's medical history or something? I mean, it's got to be something, because I was stunned that they didn't take him there, which tells me that with neither the Steelers nor the Ravens taking him with 2 very good established front offices, that maybe this guy just isn't as good as we think he is.
Maybe that could be the case, but we did pick positions that were bigger needs for each of our teams. So, because you guys did need a running back, and the Ravens needed a big wide receiver. That's what we needed. So, or maybe they think because of his medical history, he could fall and could be one of those gems in the draft, like Orlando Brown for us 3 years ago, where everyone remembers he was the number 1 tackle in the country till his combine hit, and then all of a sudden he fell out of the top 5, and then Baltimore snags him, I think, in the 4th round, and he turns out to be an all-pro right tackle and all-pro left tackle. Now Kansas City has a gem left tackle. So, I can never really judge, but I mean, his medical history can play a factor, but I think it's more Baltimore and Pittsburgh might believe he might fall.
Mr. G, so speaking of Dickerson, I know you guys picked, I think, 55 today in round 2. Would you like to see him be a Pittsburgh Steeler? Because before the show started, we were talking about Steeler center. So,
well, you look at it. I mean, hey, that really helps things, right? Okay, because you already got Najee, a guy you played with. Like you saw the Bengals do that. Picking up a toy for Burrow, somebody already had a camaraderie with. So I do think that's helpful. But at the same time, like I said, we'll know what teams think of his medical history by how far he falls. And I love that he had the workouts at his house. I mean, he just seems like a Steeler, But, man, if you got an injury history, man, we've had enough draft picks that have unfortunately fallen to, horrific injuries that, like, we need a sure thing here. We need durability. And that's, why I think Harris was a good pick, because you got durability. A guy played 4 years and, had a little nick on his ankle, maybe late in the championship game. But otherwise, he, was durable. And we have failed in January more than anything else, more than coaching, more than so many things, because guys have broken down late in the season. And so, you got to make sure that whoever you pick for O-line, whether it's a tackle or a center, that's where you're going here. You got to get somebody that's going to be durable. So we'll know a lot about Dickerson to see what happens. But like I said, we got the 2 third-rounders to play with, so don't be surprised if we move them to try to move up even 2-3 slots to get somebody.
Jeremiah is also there. Joke is also there. I think the Steelers might trade up for him. That's probably my sleeper pick. I don't know how he fell out the first round, but I do think he's going to the Steelers if they do trade up for any single player.
We take it.
Yeah. Great replacement for Bud Dupree.
Yeah.
You never have enough of those, especially because TJ is going to be expensive and you have to weigh to yourself. And again, I know people are thinking I'm crazy when I say this, but you have to weigh what guys do in the playoffs when you're paying that kind of money, right? Because James Harrison showed up in the playoffs too. Some other players, TJ Watt has not shown up in a playoff game yet. Granted, he's only played in 2, but that says something in itself, right?
Yeah, that is true. Mr. Ellis, I'm gonna say this one last thing because I know you were very, when I think Big Ben reconstructed his contract, you were saying you were gonna be last in the division. I was just like, he's pretty mad about this whole thing. But now, are you still in that place, or are you having your Mr. Ellis positive feelings back again?
Man, I'm thinking 3rd place now. No, I mean, I don't know. Look, it's like this, man. That was a big chip. Okay, getting a Najee kind of guy was a big chip, man. That's an identity kind of player that you picked up there, so that helps. But at the same time, man, if the line does not improve, I'm going to be concerned. But the more I've studied Adrian Clem, the more I like him as our new O-line coach. And I'm going to shout out a man here who's a Paint Branch legend who played the O-line here at Paint Branch. His name is Mr. William Smith. He's going to be in the Paint Branch Hall of Fame here one day. For athletics, he was the best O-lineman probably in the history of the school. And he told me that this is the move, that we're getting a guy that's physical. We're getting a guy that trained Kevin Dodson. Like, we're getting a guy here in O-line coach that ain't playing no clown show. And oh, by the way, Matt Canada, I do have faith in Matt Canada. When you could take a Maryland football team who suffered through the horrific tragedy that they did and managed to come within a whisker of a bowl game, that tells me you got somebody that knows what they're doing. So I'm confident in that. But of course, my concern is that we have a 38-year-old quarterback who won't go under center. The Mason Rudolph signing is really interesting because it tells me that there might be a few thoughts in the organization that say that, if we're 6-7 games into this season and Ben's not looking good, we might just shut him down.
That Mason Rudolph signing was very interesting. I was gonna bring that up because I don't know. I just feel like there's a really big possibility that Big Ben doesn't finish the season, whether it's injury, God forbid. I'm not saying I'm not saying he does get injured. Hopefully he doesn't, because no one wants to see that. Or just like he's playing bad, because that Mason Rudolph contract is very interesting. Plus, you do have Dwayne Haskins. Who knows? All about training camps and off season. Like, does Dwayne Haskins beat out Mason Rudolph for the number 2 backup?
They're giving him every opportunity. I'm excited about just having him in there because I feel like he can learn a lot from the leadership. And you knew that Rivera had no interest in him from the jump, man. So he never really had a shot. Not to mention, when you get drafted in your hometown, man, you never get a chance to really escape and start your life. He was still kind of in suspended adolescence being in Washington. So I have a lot of faith in our organization that they're going to give him every opportunity. And at the worst, he's going to grow like a man. Even if he can become like a Byron Leftwich kind of backup that can be solid if you need him. I just think there was nothing negative about picking him up. That's for sure. I mean, there was nothing negative with taking the flyer and seeing where he could go. And I'm excited. I love how they rated our quarterback room 31st in the league. That's fine. Go ahead and do that. But no, I kind of don't hate our quarterback situation at the moment. But the Ben thing is, it is what it is. We're only going to go as far as he can take us. So we'll see. But,
what are your thoughts on TJ Watt not finishing finishing his season with the Steelers. I think he might be a good trade asset midway through, and he might have another great season halfway and looking good. And the Steelers see that, they know they're not going to be able to re-sign him. So that trade deadline, I do think he might be sent away.
Here's the thing: I think they will re-sign him. I think they will re-sign him, and I'm gonna tell you why they're gonna re-sign him. Okay, because the fan base is gonna bring the pressure.
Yeah.
Okay. And they're going to bring the pressure because, and again, you guys know this, man. We've been doing this show for multiple years. I'm going to go there, right? He's the great white hope in Pittsburgh. Okay. And for that segment of the fan base, they're going to browbeat the drum until it happens. So I'm telling you, it's going to happen. He's going to get the big contract. The one chance to trade him was right here, to move up if you wanted to get your QB. And they felt like they didn't need to do that. So they're going to sign him. He's going to get a lot of money because we have a lot of money next year. So he's going to get a lot of money. But my feeling is you better be worth it. You better be worth it. And you better show up when it matters. Because in the course of your career, you stacked your stats against Cleveland when they stunk. Why don't you do it against them when they're playing a little bit better? And why don't you do it without Bud Dupree over there? But Highsmith's pretty good too, guys. Let's not get it wrong. Highsmith's a good player. And let's not forget that injury in the second series of that game against Cleveland was significant, him coming out of the game, because he was a force. Ask the Ravens, right? Why did the Steelers win the division? Because Highsmith had the interception at the start of the second half in the first Ravens game. That was a great play. That was not, it fell in my hands and oopsie. That was an amazing play. If you go back and watch, that was one of the best plays of our season. This guy's good, right? He's really good. He's not Bud, but he's close. So, TJ, what do you do? Let's see. Ball's in your court, buddy. Great white hope. What do you got, TJ? I'm interested in results.
I'm gonna say let's stick with the Cleveland topic because a lot of people have said that they're the team to beat in the AFC North. Emmanuel, do you believe that? Do you think Baltimore is still the team to beat? Do you think Baltimore is still number one, or is Cleveland taking you guys?
Baltimore is still number one. Now, if you look at rosters, Cleveland, as of right now, looks like they have the better roster. But we've always been taught your roster doesn't do anything. It's as far as your quarterback can take you. So it doesn't matter how good the Browns roster can be. If you don't have a good quarterback that can work that roster, it doesn't matter. Aaron Rodgers doesn't have the best roster, yet he keeps winning the NFC North. I mean, Tom Brady didn't in the AFC East. He still won it almost every year and somehow found a way to make the Super Bowl, even with that horrible roster. It depends on your quarterback. And if you're looking at quarterback, Baker versus Lamar, let me think. Baker, first winning season versus Lamar, 3 straight playoff appearances, unanimous MVP. He averages about 12 wins a year. We know who the better quarterback is. And we can even look at last year. Ravens had a bad year last year. We went 11-5. Cleveland, great year, 11-5. Like, our expectations are different. And stat-wise, Lamar and Baker had the same year. And one of them, Lamar was COVID racked. So I think Lamar even had better stats than Baker. I'm not going to hate on Baker, but there's a reason why they haven't really gone to contract negotiations with him, because they may not think he's the guy yet. Because we're like, okay, we gave you all this talent. You were supposed to win. Let's see what you do when that contract comes. Like Baltimore, we know we're signing Lamar Jackson. We know we are. Because for the first time since 2012, we've actually started winning. We've been relevant. Before that, we would go 9-7, 8-8. So we'll see what Baker does this season, because this is going to be his contract year. If he doesn't succeed with those weapons or does not win this division, I wouldn't be surprised if you see Cleveland in the first round go and get a quarterback.
Yeah, and when your average starting field position, I mean, Lamar never had a game in the playoffs where his average starting field position was the 47-yard line of the opponent, which is what Faker had against us and what he had almost against Kansas City in the second half when Mahomes went out. So, Yeah, I have no belief in Cleveland at all. And I think, like I said, I think they're going to be right around 500. I think they're going to be a massive disappointment. And I think Andrew Berry's done a great job as general manager to bring the guys in. But look, man, they were lightning in a bottle last year at that point in time. They won their one playoff game for this century.
I don't know, but I still think Cleveland will be okay just because Stefanski's better than most coaches in this league. So he'll be able to coach them. He'll coach them over 500. They'll sneak into the playoffs. But where it matters, like against Kansas City, Mahomes was pretty much out for the rest of that game. Baker Mayfield could not beat Chad Henne. That kind of scares you a bit.
Yeah, and that game would have been blowout city had he played the whole game.
Mahomes just played the whole game.
Blowout city.
That would have been over.
So, Mr.
But,
E, are you saying if Pittsburgh and Cleveland, let's say they just randomly like faced in the playoffs again, do you think you're gonna get them this time? Or
absolutely. I say we win it. I say we win it 95 out of 100. You know, going into that last game, I think it was circumstance, bad coaching, and most of all, just poor quarterback play from the big guy. He pulled his best Marino, as he likes to do sometimes in the playoffs. Guys, we got to wrap up. We got about 1 minute here, but I want to make sure that SA hasn't said anything in a while. I want to make sure he gets a word here and everybody just gets a final word. I've talked too much, so let's make sure the three of you guys get a final word before we wrap it up. But real quick, congratulations to SA heading to the University of Notre Dame, man. What a huge accomplishment, man. We're going to give it up for you for that, SA. And let's not forget to talk about Emmanuel. Mr. Emmanuel right here has got a full scholarship. He's headed to play football at Westminster University, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to give it up for this guy. I mean, huge college, excuse me. Westminster College. Excited for you guys and excited for everybody's future here for you guys. I mean, it's awesome. Final words. Take it, guys. Round robin.
You know, we'll see what happens day 2, day 3 tonight. I'll be waiting to see what the Ravens do. More specifically, the Packers. I want to see how they respond to this. Because, I don't know. Because yesterday, Faisal could tell you we were all dying in the group chat. We were all dying. So, you know,
I mean, Elijah Moore was right there. I mean, I think he was just a perfect fit. Like, he was like, I know he's a short guy, but like, I think he's just a great receiver. I think he would have been perfect. Like kind of like a Randall Cobb kind of guy. I think that's what SA told us like 2 days ago. It's just you gotta pick him, man. But yeah, just a little round robin here. I'm just gonna we didn't pick Justin Fields, which we thought I was going to do. I thought we were gonna trade up, but Mac Jones was our guy, and I'm gonna have faith in him. I'm not gonna do anything right yet because he hasn't played a snap, but I'm gonna be behind him. And next year, hopefully, he takes off, and this year he just learns the roots. Learn the roots, Mac.
And yeah, I'm gonna say the same thing I said earlier. If we take Brown in the like we trade up and we get him, I take back everything I said this whole last hour. I'm happy. I'm happy, man. I think Rodgers will be a very happy man, and we get Brown, I'll be happy too. But if we get Elijah Moore somehow, some way, that's like a 2% chance. I'm leaving some hope that can happen, and please, I'm just saying, please, one wish, complete it. Good. Please do that. And that's it. And if we do that, great. I'll be happy.
Take us out, man.
Man, it was great to come back. You know, I just can't wait to see the after draft, just how all of our teams shake up. And we'll be back when the NFL schedule drops, I think, in a few weeks.
Oh, absolutely.
So we're out. We'll see you guys next time.
Take care, everybody. And goal for next year is to do a remote from a stadium for a live game. And that's the goal for next year. So be fun. And most of all, guys, the best thing of all this information is that you guys are going to graduate live and in person. And that's the best news that we've had in 14 months. So for everybody. So cheers to you guys. You deserve it. You deserve it.